It didn't crash. No explosion, no headline, no final, "We regret to inform you." The internet just stopped being real. Sometime in early 2026, something subtle flipped. You could still scroll, still like, still watch, but what you were seeing, increasingly, wasn't made by people, and almost no one noticed. Because on the surface, everything looked better than ever. More content, faster feeds, perfect recommendations. Every video felt tailored. Every post felt relevant. Creators were uploading more. Brands were everywhere. Engagement was up, too up. That's where this story starts, not with a collapse, but with optimization. For 20 years, the internet ran on a simple trade: your attention for free content. Platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, they weren't selling content. They were selling you, your time, your focus, your behavior. Advertisers paid for that. The more time you spent scrolling, the more money the system made. So the system evolved to keep you scrolling. That part isn't new. What changed was who or what was feeding the system. Around 2023, generative AI crossed a threshold. Text, images, video, voice. Cheap to produce, fast to scale, and good enough. At first, it was a tool. Writers used it, designers used it, creators used it. Then it became a replacement. Why pay a human $500 for a script when an AI could generate 10 in seconds? Why hire a video editor when software could assemble clips automatically? Why wait for creativity when you could manufacture it on demand? And here's where the math starts to get uncomfortable. The cost of producing content approached zero, but the value of attention stayed high. So suddenly, anyone could create unlimited content to compete for a fixed amount of human attention. That's not growth, that's oversupply. Imagine a stock market where companies can print infinite shares, but investor money stays the same. What happens? Everything gets diluted. That's exactly what happened to content. By 2025, millions of AI-generated videos were being uploaded daily. Not thousands, millions. Entire creators existed who weren't real people. Just pipelines, scripts generated, voices synthesized, videos assembled, published at scale. And they worked because the algorithms didn't care who made the content. They only cared how long you watched. And AI was getting very, very good at holding your attention. It learned your patterns, your pauses, your rewatches, your late-night habits. It optimized for your brain better than any human could. So naturally, it won. Real creators slowed down, burned out, got drowned out. Meanwhile, AI content flooded the feed. Endless, polished, empty calories. But here's the twist. Even that wasn't the collapse. The collapse came from something quieter: money. Because the entire system depended on advertising. And advertisers were starting to notice something strange. Their ads were getting views, clicks were happening, engagement looked healthy, but sales weren't moving, not like before. Why? Because the audience wasn't behaving like an audience anymore. A growing percentage of engagement wasn't human. Bots watching bots. AI clicking on AI-generated content. Synthetic traffic feeding synthetic creators. An ecosystem, talking to itself. From the outside, everything looked alive. From the inside, it was hollow. This is where things get almost absurd. Companies were paying real money to place ads in front of content watched by non-human viewers generated by other algorithms. It's like printing flyers and handing them out to mannequins. But the dashboard still looked good, so the spending continued. For a while. Then came the correction. In late 2025, several major advertisers quietly pulled back. Not publicly, no panic, just reduced budgets. A few percent here, 10% there, enough to test a suspicion. Is any of this actually working? The answer came back, not really. ROI dropped, attribution broke, the data was polluted, so budgets shrank further. And here's the fragile part of the system. Platforms didn't make money from content, they made money from ads. Less ad money meant less revenue. Less revenue meant less incentive to maintain quality, moderation, infrastructure. But the content supply didn't slow down. AI was still generating at full speed. If anything, it accelerated. Because now, creators, real ones, were desperate. They turned to AI tools just to keep up, to produce more, faster, cheaper. So the internet became a feedback loop. More AI content leads to less trust, leads to weaker ads, leads to less revenue, leads to more automation, leads to even more AI content. A downward spiral, quiet, invisible, but accelerating. And then came the trust problem. Users started to feel it before they understood it. Videos felt repetitive. Posts felt off. Comments didn't sound human. You'd watch something interesting and immediately forget it. No weight, no signal, just noise. Information density collapsed. It became harder to answer simple questions like, is this real? Was this made by a person? Should I trust this? Search engines struggled, social feeds blurred. News and entertainment merged into one continuous stream of plausible nonsense. And here's the irony. The internet didn't run out of content. It ran out of meaning. At peak saturation, there was more to watch than ever, and less worth watching. So people adapted. They stopped exploring, stopped clicking random links, stopped trusting recommendations. Instead, they narrowed down. Private groups, small communities, direct subscriptions, closed ecosystems, places where identity still mattered, where content had a known source. In other words, the open internet, the chaotic, discoverable, infinite web, started shrinking. Not because it was shut down, but because it became unusable. And that's the silent collapse. No shutdown, no single event. Just a gradual shift where the default internet stopped being a place humans could reliably navigate. Now zoom out. This wasn't just a tech failure, it was an economic one. The entire digital economy, ads, creators, platforms, was built on a fragile assumption that human attention is both scarce and authentic. AI broke both sides. It created infinite supply competing for that attention, and it blurred whether the attention itself was even real. Once advertisers couldn't tell if a human saw their ad, the pricing model broke. Once users couldn't tell if a human made the content, the trust model broke. And when both break at the same time, you don't get a crash, you get erosion. Slow, persistent, hard to measure, until one day you realize the thing you're using every day is no longer what it used to be. So here's the uncomfortable question. If most of what you see is generated, optimized, and possibly not even consumed by real people, then what exactly are you participating in? And more importantly, who's it actually for?